Alrighty. Serral versus Shameless, the best of 5. They should be on the way already. Nope, they're starting now. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Here we go. We casting Yona? Absolutely. You want to join or what? You want to yap? You're always welcome to yap along. Complain a little bit about Protoss. Chat will love it. Open invitation for Reynor.
Let's get it on.
Round 1. Fight!
Top left side of Incorporeal, we are looking at the main base of the man who lost in the quarterfinals against Classic, who had that crazy game that came down to a single Broodlord versus a single Archon. If you haven't seen that yet, I would not say close this broadcast, but after this broadcast, go ahead and reserve an hour and watch it, because it was pretty epic. Yes, it had downtime, but it was crazy. This is the great Yona Sutala, the GOAT, Serral from BASILISK. Bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the young man from Novosibirsk. I'm a big fan of this kid. I really like him. He's always been so kind to me. He is a proper grinder. This is Shameless. Representing LittleFairy. Elfin LittleFairy. Let me just scroll up very quickly to see what I missed. Trying to hype him up to influence the odds. I don't get anything, mate. Whether you guys bet a million channel points on Serral or 10 points on Serral, I don't care. I will hype Shameless up, because anybody that's been watching this stream over the last 2 years will know that I have casted hundreds of games of Shameless at this point, and will know that I always hype him up. Just because I find the next generation of Starcraft players always exciting. I try to show them love. I try to make sure that they get their time in the spotlight. Invite them into stuff like the Big Brain Bout so they can make some money on the side. Does that mean that I think he's on the level to defeat Serral in the best of 5? No, probably not. But I am generally impressed by this kid. I think he's really good, especially against Terran. I think that's where he does his best work. But he's also just all around, obviously, a very strong player. But he's no Serral yet. That goes without saying. And I don't care what you guys bet. I cannot earn channel points on my channel. I am not a casino. I don't take rake. I don't get a bigger payout if you guys guess wrong. That's not what it's about. The channel points are for you. As channel owner, you have 0 points and it doesn't matter. So, no. I have no horse in this race other than the fact that I am a man who represents Basilisk. And I obviously want Serral to qualify. Not just for the close qualifier, but for the main event this summer. Can join game 2 as well if you want, Reynor. I've already had a bit of a long day and I'm still recovering a tiny bit from my long ass journey. Like, I've had these weird moments where at 3 or 4 p.m. I suddenly feel Omega dead and I fall asleep for an hour. And then I feel very tired throughout the evening, and then when I go to bed I'm suddenly like, hey, I've got energy. Should I play some Deadlock at 1 a.m? I haven't done it yet, but the urge is getting stronger and stronger. It's a Depths and Oracle, so it's a very standard start here for Shameless. Serral is obviously expecting this. Maybe once in this series we'll see a Twilight opening, but more often than not it is going to be Stargate. Just because Stargate is the safest thing that Protoss players can do. It will allow them to be greedy, it will allow them to find some damage on the other side of the map, and obviously scout 24/7. Serral has opened up with Zergling speed, so he's got a few speedy links. He shouldn't really take too much damage here. Shameless playing this very conservative so far. I do think it's important for Shameless to take some real risks as the underdog here. You're gonna have to take some chances and be a little crazy and reckless from time to time. Even though Classic was able to win those long drawn out macro games, I don't know if Shameless really wants to find himself in multiple 40 or 50 minute games against Serral. I'm asking us to believe so Twitch doesn't give you the sweet channel point kickback under the table. There is apparently a partner party happening in the Maas Silo Saturday evening in RotterdaM that I got invited to, so Maybe if I somehow make sure that all of you guys spend a lot of channel points, I get a couple free drinks. I don't think that's how it works, mate, but perhaps. Perhaps I get a sweet deal at the TwitchCon party this weekend. When is the main event? For EWC, it is going to happen, I think, around 12 to 18 of July. The main event of the closed qualifier, where these guys could theoretically punch their ticket into the absolute main event, is happening on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is day 1, Sunday is day 2. The main Esports World Cup will indeed start in July. Starcraft is happening, I think, in the 3rd week. It's going to be like 2 months of non-stop esports action happening over in Saudi Arabia. So there's a couple games that happened before Starcraft, there are a few games that happened during Starcraft, and there are many games that happen after Starcraft. Wow, Christiana at reverse sweep. That's impressive for Christiana. That means that Mana is going to have to try his luck again tomorrow. Shameless going for a bit of a very, very soft contain here on Serral. Trying to keep Serral on 3 bases a little while longer. As all of the adepts without resonating glaive are going to go to the top right side. Adepts and oracles together should be able to get another cancel. Serral is going Spire while Shameless has already dropped a fleet beacon. Did he see? What did he see? Did he see it already? No, he hasn't seen it yet. This is actually the best fleet beacon that Shameless could ever drop. Maybe the fact that he hasn't seen a single roach, the fact that he hasn't seen a single hydra, just gives him... Oh, he could have cancelled this actually. He absolutely could have gotten a cancel on this base. But guys, having a fleet beacon this early means that Shameless could start building Phoenix with any impulse crystals incredibly early against the Mutalisk from Serral. That means that Shameless could theoretically put himself in an amazing spot here, but he's just doing it to build a mothership for now. Now, motherships can be useful against Mutas too, because they have around 1200 HP, and it takes a long time for a few Mutas to kill a mothership. Congrats to Christiana for that reverse sweep, that's impressive. Serral is gonna run a lot of Zerglings into the natural as he gets the surround on the adept. This is a big mistake, the first massive mistake that Shameless has made. Made a tiny mistake with that oracle that could have gotten a cancel, but this is a bigger mistake. Loses 7 workers. And this is obviously going to disrupt this build order a little bit. He's gonna apply some pressure here with a couple stalkers that are about to get their hands on Blink. This is now bad news for Shameless, guys. As an underdog here, you really can't make too many mistakes against the great Jonas Sotala. And letting those links walking kill 7 probes. And unfortunately, still being unaware of the Mutalisk is a real big problem. In the main base, we've got no cannon, we've got no battery. I don't think we have Rico. We don't have Rico either because we use Rico on the oracles. Oh no. Poor Shameless, guys. Played 6 minutes and 30 seconds of incredibly impressive PvZ, but he's now in all sorts of trouble. Oh. That is unfortunate. That is just mega unfortunate for Shameless. And I'm expecting Serral's supply to absolutely explode at this point. And Shameless is gonna have a very hard time getting anywhere near maxing out. Is it that late, Helgi? Is it from like the 18th of July to the 22nd of July? Are those the dates for Starcraft 2? I thought it was a bit earlier. Mutalisk think about killing the mothership, but what I said earlier holds strong. The mothership does have 1200 HP. That is a very awkward Rico. I think those stalkers are a little bit stuck. We have more Zerglings and Roaches getting on top of stalkers in the middle of nowhere. Shameless is going to be forced to cancel that 4th base if he's paying attention, and he is paying attention. The only thing that our youngster from Russia at this point can do is hang on tight to the 3 bases that he's currently working with and hope that he can survive and then very slowly go up to 4 bases. It's a bit too early, I think, to go up to 4 bases now. We've taken too much damage. Serral is at this point a maxed out Zerg, while Shameless is still hovering around that 137 supply. There's only one thing I think you can do here, and that is just hang on tight to the 3 bases you currently have. Try to increase your army supply a little bit and try to get a really good answer for the current army of Serral. But obviously the current army of Serral is not the only problem that Shameless is facing. He's gonna face a much stronger army later on. Middleisk will fly into the natural and actually find some more damage, even against the 3-base setup. Serral is finding damage. If Shameless is spreading himself thin across 4 bases, I understand that he's finding damage. Against 3 bases, I don't think there was a whole lot of damage to be found, but the Muras of Reynor are getting it done. We have a bunch of slow banelings trying to wiggle their way into this middle line. That doesn't quite work. Serral at this point is so rich. He's on 93 drones. Serral can do whatever the hell he wants. Not even Ronda? I don't know. Why are we talking about Ronda? What did I say? Storms are landing on a couple of the slow banes. That Stalker Warpin gets decimated immediately. At least it keeps the banelings away from the workers. Serral does lose a lot of units, but if we're on 93 drones, we want to lose a lot of units. That's what having 93 drones is all about. The immediate remax of over 70 Zerglings, 28 Banes are morphing, a Reynor Glance on the way, and the Ultralisk Cavern on the production tab. Lore accurate ZVP. That's kind of what this is at this point. Yeah, this has been over, I think, for a little bit at this point. But I also understand that Shameless is still trying. As long as you're facing just Zerglings, Muras, and Roaches, you ain't leaving. This is not an invincible army. And with a couple of Archons, near cannons, and batteries, and storms, you could, theoretically, always overcome a 20, 30, 40 supply deficit. But Shameless obviously knows that it won't always just be these basic units. And the 20 banelings have now become 48 banelings. That's so many banelings tasteless, as the Archon is going to try to hold the line. Good Stalker Warp in there, but I think everything is just going to get rolled. Iona is gonna, I think, steamroll this army, even though we recall in a few more reinforcements on the side of Shameless. I gotta say, the Stalkers and the Zerglings actually having a hard time winning that fight. But we did find 22 probes. And since Shameless is still hard stuck on those 3 bases, while Serral has been working with 6 bases for a little while. It's a hold, but at what cost? Honestly, I kind of thought he was just going to die there immediately, but perhaps we just didn't have enough anti-air to really ever kill that mothership. Yeah, I think I completely agree with you, Fish. One big mistake on the side of Shameless, having this Adept not in position, but having it over here, forced him to take damage, kind of took away the tempo of his strategy, made it harder for him to scout, and after that we were forced to recall the Oracles, which meant we didn't have recall later on. We took a lot of damage from the Muras. And the rest is history. We are going to try to send it one last time. We're going to walk into a bit of a death trap here. It is important for Serral that he brings an Overseer, but he's got an Overseer. This is going to be a Stalker meat grinder if I've ever seen one. And that is going to do it. Serral takes the 1-0 lead.
Oh my god.
No, wrong. That was actually not even on purpose. Those buttons are on the same spot while I was apparently in a map. No. You said no recall, but what does Ronda have to do with... recall? No Ronda, no recall. That's not quite the same, no. What about Ronda? Because of what MKP said, but I'm telling you, I had no idea either, even at the time he said it. What is happening over here? Now I'm so confused. Now I'm just so confused, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that Serral has taken the 1-0 lead in this open qualifier. If Serral gets it done today, we'll see him again on Saturday, and that's obviously what we all expect. It's unfortunate for Shameless that he was put in this part of the bracket. We basically had 8 mini brackets. I want to take a little look, by the way, at all the other games. Earlier today we did the Asian qualifier, where I'd say we had one big upset, and that is Firefly losing to Silky. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of results. A Showtime 3-0 Goblin. That's impressive by the man who's representing Sentinels. Apparently, Christiana got a reverse sweep over Mana. That's very impressive. I see that Gabe is flying. Gabe is up 2-0. Spirit got a 3-0 TVT victory. Lambo got a 3-0 ZVZ victory. So, Europe's finest are showing up in a big way. Currently, we are watching this one. Honestly, I guess by the time that this is over, everything is going to be over. But that's all right. Then at least we were here from the beginning till the end. If you guys have any updates for me in regards of Skillless Milky Cow, I'd love to hear it. I expect Skillers to get it done there. Skillers is mega good, but Milky ain't bad. I wonder if Gerald can turn this one around. Winning 3 in a row against Gabe, I think that's going to be a bit tough. I can see him win a map, maybe 2. I think winning 3 in a row is very difficult. Game 2.
Round 2. Fight!
Top right side of Tokamak, we are looking at the main base of the great Iona Sotala representing Basilisk. Our GOAT, it's Serral. Honestly, I thought that his opponent, this man, played incredibly good in the first 6 minutes. And it really started to look like it was going somewhere, with that soft contain of Adepts and Oracles, making it a bit more difficult for Serral to go up to 4 bases. Only spotting Lynx as well, and theoretically that early Fleet Beacon could have been gold, because if you have 3 Phoenix with any Impulse Crystals, even 15 Mutalisk are not scary at all. And if you go for Mutas, you're gonna have less Lynx, Roaches and Banelings at first, so you could have dealt with that too. Unfortunately, the mistake of having that one Adept a little bit too far forward kind of ruined his entire game. It is what it is, but still an okay showing by this man, a young man from Novosibirsk. It is a Shameless. No one gets my joke. No, I legit did not get it. The Ronda joke didn't make sense when it was made 2 minutes later or 4 minutes later. I mean, I understand that Recall and Ronda are somewhat close to each other, but that just doesn't make any sense to me. Ronda has nothing to do with the Recall. I got to see Ronda 2 days ago. Basically, one day after I came back, I walked over to my brother's house. I had to say hello to the puppies. It made no sense, but when I was flying to Japan and I was gone for 3 weeks, for some reason I was just really worried something bad was going to happen. Because they're both getting older. Ronda turns 9 on the 15th of November. Rico turns 9 on the 1st of December. And they're both big bull mastiffs, and Ronda already has like a tumor under her back. That's not really hurting her yet, but lately I felt like it was getting a bit worse, and sometimes when she's getting up, I could see that it just wasn't going as well. Now the fact that she's getting older and a bit slower is normal for a big dog. For some reason I just had like a minor panic attack in the plane, so I was just hoping everything was going to be fine. Basically the first day I came back, I went over, and it was very nice. She's doing okay. Struggling a little bit, but my sweet puppy, she's doing okay. But she's got nothing to do with recalls. If anything, Rico is closer to recall than Ronda, no? Hero Marine's second win against Gerald has been a bit... You mean it's been a while ago? Could be. Gerald, obviously, I think one of the favorites to get it done tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very exciting. Like, in a weird way, tomorrow is more exciting than today. Even though today we get to see our favorites, we get to see Reynor, we get to see Serral, we love it. But tomorrow, I feel like it's going to be very close. And there are so many guys that can beat each other. It's going to be a banger broadcast, and I'll be very excited to watch all of it. Did Serral ever compete in the GSL? No, only in GSL versus the world. And... he played it 3 times and he won it 2 times. It was a tournament that was played over in Korea. 1 year he beat... was it TY in the finals? Or was it TY in the semifinals? Maybe Dark in the finals or something. And the year after that he actually beat Elaser in the finals. And that was a banger of a ZVZ finals. It was a great storyline because Elaser got fan voted in and a lot of people were upset. They're like, oh, Elaser shouldn't be there, someone else should be there. And then Elaser made it all the way to the grand finals. Serral all-in'd him twice in the first 2 games. In the best of 7 final, took like the 2-0 lead within 10 minutes. But after that, they played 4 amazing games. They were all very close, with Elaser winning 2 of them and Serral winning 2 of them, leading to a 4-2 victory in the grand final for Serral. But it was a really good series by Elaser. One of the coolest ZVZ finals I've seen in a while. Serral did not make top 4 in DreamHack. Serral made top 8, which is obviously very bad news for all the other Europeans, because that means that Serral is going to try to qualify through those European qualifiers that are happening this weekend. To participate in those, you need to make it through the open qualifier first, and that is why we are watching some Serral on this beautiful Wednesday evening, the 28th of May. It is Adepts, Oracles, and Blink as a build once more coming out of Shameless. One of them gets picked off, second one gets surrounded, the third one gets picked off as well. This is incredibly clean defense so far coming out of Yona. He is looking good. Felt that Shameless, his start in game 1 was a little more promising than his start here in game 2. Gerald won game 3? Okay. I mean, I kind of figured Gerald to win 1, if not 2 games against Gabe, but I'd be surprised if he beats Gabe in the best of 5. Hero Marine historically has done incredibly well against Gerald too. Not even just like, oh, he wins most of the time. That's basically, he always wins. It's above 90% as far as I know. Oracles drop a revelation. Misses this crypto actually by an inch. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's not the biggest army here by Shameless, so he's gonna have to tread very carefully. 24 links, 5 queens at the moment for Serral, but 7 Hydralisk on the way. Serral has completely skipped the Roach Warren. Apparently felt that he did not need it on this large map, and he was right. Shout out to Pertze and Jalia for the 43 months and 22 months. I appreciate it, guys. As an Oracle flew into the Hydras there. Both Oracles apparently flew into the Hydras while I was trying to reposition myself in the chat. That is very sad for Shameless. I was already not really feeling these first 6-7 minutes. Just kind of felt that he wasn't able to slow Serral down like he was in that previous game. And he wasn't quite able to find the damage that he's looking for. 1 drone in 7 minutes is just not enough. But that doesn't have to be the end of the world if we then get a very strong defensive setup and we start gearing up for the late game where Protoss can be powerful. But if we then fly 2 Oracles over a bunch of Hydras in the center, that's when it gets even worse. Poor Shameless. Often what happens when a big underdog goes up against the overwhelming favorite is that they kind of hold their own for a little while in game 1, but if it starts going wrong, then after that, it becomes a bit of a train wreck of a series. I wouldn't quite call this a train wreck yet, but there's just very little to get excited over here in game 2. The one thing that he is doing is going up to 4 bases, and he is going to get a second robot, so maybe we get a strong army of a couple Archons, a couple Storms, a couple Immortals, and 1 strong defensive fight. And Shameless is back in it. Right now, I just feel like the game looks rather grim. Legend Juanito. 65% of Gabe's ladder points at any given time are directly extracted from Gerald. I know it's a very common matchup. I am aware of the memes. I'm aware of the commentary that happens from time to time. Let's not dive into that. 90 drones for Serral. He's kind of cruising. 9 lurkers finish up. Seismic Spines is 80% done. Shameless has, I want to say decent army, but definitely not decent enough to walk into lurkers. Maybe decent enough to kind of flirt with the Zerg on the edge of 3, but Serral sees a Zealot and an Archon. Kind of just left behind. He jumps on it, surrounds it, kills it immediately, and disengages it. And Serral says, you ain't attacking me, I'm gonna attack you. As it's a bunch of Hydras, Lurkers, and Zerglings getting on top of the 4th base of Shameless. Recalling into this, though, is gonna be omega painful. Shameless knows that, so he says, F it, I'm just gonna attack. But attacking into this is also going to be painful, so what do we do now? In the end, we recall towards the 3rd. That means that we got nothing done with our move out other than losing a Zealot and an Archon in the center, and we have just lost our 4th base. It's beautiful army movement by Serral, as Serral also finds a couple of Stalkers. These Stalkers are ultra screwed. There's no other way to put it, as they're being chased by Zerglings into a bunch of Lurkers and Hydras. Shameless does land 1 decent Storm there, but Serral has now moved that army that was attacking the 4th. Up the ramp into the natural. Gateway dies, Cybercore dies. think maybe the Archons and Immortals can win this as long as we have detection. There is some detection, but the reinforcements are coming in. And even if we can clean up the first set of lurkers, extra lurkers are showing up. The Immortals really need to start targeting the lurkers, and it's just not good enough. All the Zealots have died. High Templars have died. And GG gets called. Serral takes a very comfortable 2-0 lead here in the end. A lot of that goes back to not just the early game not being good enough for Shameless, like nothing to truly celebrate, but especially losing those 2 oracles in the center against the Hydras. That just means that you lose so much of your map presence and your vision. You've got less stasis traps to rely on, and you've got less ways to effectively track the movement of Serral. And that's when he moves to the top left. He is completely unaware of the fact that Serral is attacking him with Lynx, Lurkers, and Hydras, loses the 4th, and eventually just loses all of it. Serral's looking good here. And Shameless. Let's go for something crazy, mate. Let's send it here in game 3. It's gonna be tough to just sit back and turn this one around. Look at Reynor, by the way, guys. He's lathering. Who's this young man? How the hell did he suddenly get this much passion? Reynor lathering. Unbelievable. That's when you know the Esports World Cup is truly coming. See that boy on Battle.net? Instead of in the Rift? Woo. Firing up some games after already having a strong performance in the first set of the qualifiers. He's getting fired up. He must have had an injection of passion over the weekend. Love to see it, guys. You love to see it. Game 3.
Round 3. Fight.
Top right side of Ultra Love. We are looking at the main base of the Finnish Phenom representing BASILISK. It is Serral. 1 map away from qualifying for the closed qualifier that gets played Saturday, 1800 CEST. There is a good chance that that will be broadcasted on EWC_Black, so follow that Twitch channel if you haven't done it yet, or follow them on YouTube if you haven't done that yet. And that's where you guys can watch at least some of the games. There should also be some community streams on that day, since I don't think they can realistically cover all the games. I think it's a few too many. So there might be some community casting. Unfortunately, I cannot be here on Saturday because I'll be in the city attending TwitchCon. It's a painful day to have other obligations, but that is what it is. I'm an old man, can't always be available. Bottom left side of Ultra Love, we are looking in the main base of our Russian youngster from Novosibirsk, down 0-2. Can we get 1 win on the board? It is Shameless. Do I know if Serral's coming to Home Story Cup? I actually don't have confirmation of that. I can obviously figure that out very quickly. That still feels kind of far away to me, so I don't know. I would say that I think he's probably going. Because there is like 1 month between Home Story Cup and the Esports World Cup. I think that's enough time to like recover, rest up, and it doesn't really take away anything of his practice. There's only one thing that I am thinking of, and that is that I know Serral doesn't love traveling that much, and he just went to Dallas last weekend. He came home. On Monday, he too has to travel to Bulgaria for the Bellum's Gem Elite. Like, there is a chance that he just says, you know what, it's enough for a little bit. But I kind of expect him to go. You can always ask him yourself, guys. If you do !Discord, there is a BASILISK Discord. And all the players are there. Trigger is there, Reynor is there, Serral's there. You can always ask him there. And if he's not the one responding, somebody who has more info on player schedules, like Jeff from BASILISK, will answer it for you. I do expect Home Story Cup to start announcing players real soon, because it's 1 month away at this point, right? I think this is a good moment to start announcing the first set of players. Oh, I just got an alert on my phone. 15 minutes until Chelsea against Real Betis with Anthony the God. What a turbo banger of a final. First adapt goes a little crazy. I do like seeing it. Can we get rewarded here? No. Serral's defense is picture perfect. Saves all of the injured drones. Shameless continues to try to get a couple of additional hits off, but nothing to be found. I love that he tried though. I love that we gave it the good old college try, even if we didn't get rewarded. You still force the Zerg to morph a couple drones into spores, which messes their build order up ever so slightly. It's better than not doing anything. I had a map win once at Home Story Cup over Big Gabe. I think I played in 2 Home Story Cups. In one of them I went 0-4 and the other one I went 1-4. Took a map of Gabe on land, baby. No one takes that away from me. Pry and terraces. Loved it. The legendary backup prism. Never to be forgotten. Got a Twilight Council as a follow-up. We don't have a Forge yet. At the moment it's just 3 Adepts, double Oracle, but we're gonna keep an eye on it. This does not necessarily have to be Blink. It could obviously be Blink. Double Oracle flies in. Look at Shameless, guys. We're finding damage. 3 drones, 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. Oracles do take a serious beating, but they live. That's the most important thing. Serral strikes back immediately as he surrounds the Adepts, and he's gonna be able to kill both Adepts. Now the Oracles really need to get home to make sure that we don't lose that pilot. I'm afraid we are going to lose this pilot. It's annoying. Now we're going to lose some probes as well. Losing the Adepts, losing the pylon, losing the probes, it adds up real quick. Serral was supply blocked for a split second after the scouting Overlord got picked off by those Stalkers. But the fact that Shameless warped in those Stalkers there also allowed Serral to kill the pylons. So a proper eye for an eye. All of these qualifiers, guys, will happen with a 2-minute delay, by the way. So keep that in mind if you ask me or any of the other streamers that you may be watching during these qualifiers, that it's going to take 2 minutes before you theoretically hear an answer. Anthony hat-trick, at least, mate. You know that's going to be an Mbappe World Cup final performance by Anthony tonight. Hero Marine 31 Gerald, thank you for the update, mate. I appreciate that. So congrats to Gabe. That means it's only Skillers and Milky Cow and Serral and Shameless that are still undetermined. Unless there is an update of Skillers against Milky. But I have not heard anybody say anything about that. And that would then do it for the opening day of the Open Qualifier. Shameless has been bleeding out a decent amount of Stalkers here, guys. It adds up. Stalkers are so pricey. You can lose 1 here and there, but losing 3 in a 6-minute game, it just makes your follow-up aggression a little bit weaker. And it allows Zergs to be a little more feisty and believe a little bit more in those fights where normally the Zergs have to be so cautious that the Stalker numbers don't start snowballing and that you start bleeding out too many units. If the Protoss keeps on losing a Stalker here and a Stalker there, you don't really reach that critical amount of Stalkers. The play-ins will be in Saudi. The play-ins will definitely be in Saudi Arabia. Think of it as a long time ago when we had Naniwa playing that play-in match against Revival at BlizzCon. That's kind of what it is. You know, where we had a tie in WCS points, and then they had an offline decider in BlizzCon. Think of that match, and then compare that to the Esports World Cup 2025, and you'll understand the play-ins. TI indeed has used that as well. I don't think it's too bad for such a big event. I know that some people will be like, oh, it's so sad they traveled to Saudi Arabia to play 2 series. It's alright, guys. They got $7,500 for losing. It's acceptable. Like, if they're going home with nothing, it becomes a little bit brutal. Then I'd be like, yeah, maybe we should play online. But if you're getting paid $7K to sit in a 5-star hotel in Saudi Arabia to play matches, to potentially win $200,000, I think it's alright. We've got 37 links, 14 roaches on the side of Serral as Serral continues to find some Stalkers. The Stalkers that have died right now, the count is at 11. It's just way too high. In an 8-minute game, that is just way too high, and Shameless knows that. Perhaps he's got some nerves as well, and feeling the pressure of playing against Serral on a moment like this. We're gonna see more Shameless tomorrow, and I will do my absolute best to cover some Shameless tomorrow, because I think he's gonna cook. I think tomorrow there is a chance that this young man from Russia will be one of the 8 players to also qualify for that close qualifier. Today, if your mini bracket has Serral, it was always going to be very tough. Skill is 1-3-2. Okay, banger though. Impressive by Milky, if you ask me, to get 2 maps over Skillers in such an important qualifier. So, oh, Shameless loses another Oracle as Serral sets up a Ronda. He's got Roaches in the mix as well. With Roaches, we can kill the Adept. Extra Warpins will keep the natural safe for now. Very impressive by Milky Cow, even if he fell short. Final round, and taking 2 maps of Skillers. I'd almost say that's as good as you can hope for. No cancel on the side of Shameless. Shameless a little bit distracted, kind of forgot about his oracles, was busy keeping those units outside of his natural. Now loses the 4th base. That means, guys, that this is the final game of this EWC Europe Open Qualifier that will be played today. The action continues either tonight for America or tomorrow at 12 CEST for Asia. I will be covering both the Asian and the European qualifier tomorrow. I also have to do a rehearsal somewhere at 4:30, but I think that kind of works out. I think I can do both things. America either starts tonight at midnight or tomorrow at midnight, but I'm not doing that. I can do 2 out of 3, but I'm not going to do 3 out of 3. That's a bit too much. Then it just becomes a shitty zombie performance by me. Hive Tech Serral with Adrenal Glands finishing up, Carapace finishing up, +2 melee finishing up, and Ultras. Current immortal count, guys, 1. And that is an immortal that just came out, so it's not even there yet. This right here is hell for the Protoss, especially if we are transferring 13 probes to a 4th base right when Serral shows up. Serral all over those workers, surrounds the 4th Nexus once more. Archon is obviously not going to win the fight against that many roaches. We do cancel. Serral sets up a surround. Good answer though there by Shameless. What do we got in the main? So obviously, I mean, Shameless kind of holds. I know, he lost the base, he lost 17 probes, he lost a bunch of units that he can't easily replace. I know he's kind of dead, but it's still a hold. He's got an army. He ain't leaving with 81 supply. You hear they pay everything for the players? They didn't need to pay for anything? Yeah, of course. That's how it works. No, of course, mate. But that's how it's always been. That's how it's been for Katowice, unless you're talking about open bracket. But if you qualify for Katowice, you always get everything paid. If you qualify for BlizzCon in the past, you get everything paid. And if you qualify for the Esports World Cup, of course, everything gets paid. But it's still very nice that, like, just getting everything paid doesn't mean that we'll be okay with getting 0 buckies, because it's still indeed a big time investment. It's exhausting to travel that far. What's also exhausting is trying to kill 12 Ultras with a bunch of Stalkers, 1 Cannon and Tempest. The immortal count just never got there. Throughout the best of 5, Serral just showed us that there are levels to this game. And for Shameless, it was unfortunate that he was dropped in this part of the mini bracket. 3-0s across the board for the Basilisk Zergis. Reynor got a 3-0 victory earlier over young Yakov, one of the other young Russians. Serral gets a 3-0 victory over Shameless. And that will do it for the game piece today. We can take a look at all the results together. And then we can also confirm if the American qualifier is tonight or tomorrow night. I will not use !B. Strong games by Serral. And I think Shameless did show us some really good stuff. Unfortunately, just a few too many beauty errors. I think the best shot he had was game 1. If that Adept is not out of position in game 1, I really think he could have made that a proper difficult one for Serral. Unfortunately, game 2 and game 3, just a few too many things going wrong in the early stages. Game 3 looked a tiny bit promising at one point, but then we were just bleeding out a few too many Stalkers, so the numbers were not quite able to grow. So, Skillers is Showtime, Christiana, Reynor, Hero Marine, Spirit, Lambo, and Serral are done for now. Their journey continues in the closed qualifier that starts on the 31st of May, but goes across 2 days. So, it starts on May 31st, and then they probably play like all the way up to here. And then the next day, maybe we start with this, and then we'll play everything else out. It's best of 7s, by the way, as qualifying matches. But that makes sense, because it's such a big qualifying match. Tomorrow, we continue with Europe. Same time, same place. I'll be here for that as well, the 29th of May. So anybody that signed up today and lost can try again tomorrow. And anybody that didn't sign up today, but wants to try tomorrow, can also do it. Asia continues tomorrow as well. Let's take a look quickly at... So no, America is not... Wait, this is always so confusing, right? Is that tonight? I guess the open qualifier for America is tonight. Does that make sense? Tomorrow at midnight, yeah. Yep. So actually there is an American qualifier that starts tonight at midnight, but I'm not covering that one. Doing 2 out of 3 is doable, but I don't really want to go live for the 3rd time today and then cover 2 hours of games from midnight to 2 or 3 a.m. That's a little bit much. But obviously good luck to all the American gamers that are going to try their luck today or tomorrow night. When I wake up, I'll take a look at the results. And that will do it for today. So Serral's journey, Reynor's journey, and all the other nerds that made it today continues on Saturday, 6 p.m. That's when you guys can look forward to these guys again. And expect those games to be broadcasted on this channel. So once more, follow this channel if you haven't done it yet. Because I think Saturday, Sunday, and even Friday, there will be official games broadcasted on this channel. However, there is a chance there will be some community casting for that too. Because there are so many great games being played at once. And then all you want to do is go over to Team Liquid, take a look at the calendar, top right side. And the casters should be listed there.